Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome to another review on this channel, and today, as the title may suggest and you have seen the thumbnail, we're gonna be taking a look at this guy. Now before I start the review, I want to point out that the box of this thing is actually really fucked up. Now I ordered this thing about 3 weeks ago and I waited for another 3 weeks, so basically this was a month, and during the shipping process they fucked up the box, but at least the figure inside was still okay. And for those of you who don't know who this is practically Optimus Prime. And if you don't know the specific design, this design is from Transformers Age of Extinction, Evasion mode Optimus Prime, and it started to appear in the first scenes of the movie. And the color that you see right now is actually not the Optimus Prime that were actually seen in the movie. The one in the movie is actually rusted, this one is all colorified. And a little bit more backstory is that this is based on the Voyager class Evasion mode Optimus Prime. And as you may know, this thing is slightly bigger than the original toy from Hasbro. This is because if the box wasn't obvious enough, I'll turn it around. As you can see, these are lines by, I don't know what the name of the company is, and it's called Deformation Tycoon, and it says the latest series. So you can get this guy at Shopee and Lazada. Both of these have this in stock, and if they don't, they still have the other versions of Optimus Prime, even the one from the Bumblebee movie. You can go check out that store. I am not being sponsored, but if Shopee and Lazada, if you decide to sponsor me, I will humbly accept it. Now, on to the actual review. Now, say what you will about the Transformers movies made by Michael Bay, you cannot deny that the body of Evasion mode Optimus Prime is really astonishing to the details and to the colors and to the points of it. And I don't know about you guys, but this design for Optimus is my favorite out of all the designs. Show the first movie, and of course later on in Age of Extinction and The Last Night, the designs were cool. However, when it comes to designs of Optimus, I do prefer the G1 aesthetic, and what Michael Bay did here was actually pretty astonishing. I know I'm gonna get attacked for saying that the Michael Bay movies are great, but come on, you can't deny that now, can you? The designs are awesome. So yeah, overall, what I think about this design is actually pretty cool. Now on to the more pressing matters of the figure. Now as you may see, the colors are pretty much jarring, red, blue, and gray. And according to the original's design, there was actually more color to it. Well, the Voyager class Evasion Optimus Prime, the original one, was separated into 3 categories. This color, the rusted version if I'm not mistaken, and of course the one made in Japan. Now of course I don't have the pictures, but what this company did is they took the original one, which, sure, it's a bit weird in color design, but it still looks good in my eyes. The only accessory this thing comes with is the gun. Now the gun looks big and clunky, I know, there's a screw there. The original toy did not have this. And what separates this one from the original toy is that there used to be a firing mechanism in the gun, and this was the button, but unfortunately this company did not try to make that missile launching gimmick available, and we're just stuck with a big gun. And yeah, with this kind of handle here, you can plug this into the hand, and yeah, it can hold it, like so. Now I think it should be obvious that the gun that you see right now is not actually accurate to the gun you see in Age of Extinction, but it's just big fun, okay? It's big fun. Now let's take a look at this thing's articulation. So the head is on a ball joint. Actually it's on a ball joint, so you can swivel it a little bit up, a little bit down. Now you may have noticed, I forgot to mention, but this thing does have some light piping. Now ain't that beautiful, light piping? The arms are connected to a peg so they can rotate all the way around. They can move out about this much, not parallel to the body, but it's still serviceable. There's a cut here which allows you to swivel the elbow, it seems. And the bend at the elbow, now the angle here is weird, and if you straighten it out, it does look a bit weird. And you can bend into the back, which is weird. But anyway, as for the actual functionality of the elbow, you can bend it about this much. So yeah, over 90 degrees, why not? Now what separates this from the original toy, I forgot to mention that this thing does have wrist articulation, wrist swivels practically. Now onto pressing matters. The waist here on the original toy, there was a waist swivel, but this one does not have that waist swivel anymore. I think it's to sacrifice the stability of a big figure, but then again, that's kind of bullshit. So the legs here, they move forwards about that much, pretty cool. Backwards about that much, pretty awesome. If you move this tire down first, you can get the legs to split out, which is pretty dang great. Now the legs here, there was supposed to be a waist, a swivel at this section, but as again, like the waist, you don't have it. And the bend at the knee is slightly over 90 degrees, but it does get the job done. The feet here, if you're careful, it will bend forwards about that much, back about that much. The pivots are a bit weak on this side, but they're stronger on this side. And if the issue is that why I said you have to hold this section is because if you don't, if you try to put the foot up, yeah, that will happen. That's part of the transformation. So yeah, while the articulation is kind of limited, and because it's slightly bigger, it does limitate on what you can do, but it's not impossible. It's still a fun toy. For size comparisons, here he is next to entry grade Ultraman 0 and of course Petitrits Mash Kyrie Light. Here he is side by side with the high grade RX-8-2 Gundam Revive. And of course next to another Optimus Prime figure that I have, which I did review on this channel. The links are in the description, and as you can see, that thing is way bigger than this guy right there. It's time to transform this guy. Before we can transform him though, I like to point out that unlike the original Toys manual, where they decided to make him transform from truck to robot when this thing was packaged in robot mode, they also give you the steps to change it from robot to truck. So yeah, here we go. Once you've gone through all those complicated steps and whatnot that you just witnessed, you get a pretty small and pretty boxy looking truck. Now some parts may want to come off, but with a little bit of patience you can make it snap fit. And when I spin this thing into view, you can see that the front here, the windows are actually tinted blue just like the rest of the clear parts on this truck. The paint apps are clean. Although there's one issue I like to take note is that when you look at the side here, the company that made this or reissued this put on their own logo there. And on the original toy there was supposed to be an Autobot logo. And yeah, this is kind of avoiding copyright in the worst way possible. Also, if you're wondering about weapon storage for the gun, there's only one, which is on top here. There's a hole on top of the truck and you can just plug this in. And that is the only way you can store this thing. Now unlike the original toy, there was actually a hole here for you to plug the gun on the side like so, but unfortunately because this is a reissue or made a bootleg, they don't have the hole here, so you're either gonna have to put it on the hole right here where it sticks out like MechTech does, or you can use what I do, use these two pegs here and put it sideways like so. Now sure, it's not the most beautiful method of weapon storage, but it does make it a little bit more flat and not just stand out like a wannabe tank. Now as for articulation, I mean it's a freaking truck, what kind of articulation do you need? But I guess it rolls pretty well. For size comparisons, you can see that it actually went from bigger from Ultraman 0 to a smaller than Mash Kyrie Light. This even makes the Gundam much more taller than it. And finally, here we have cartoon Optimus Prime with realistic movie Optimus Prime. And the difference between these two are night and day. First of all, yes, this one is more of a kid's toy and this one is more like an adult kind of toy, if that makes sense. I mean, the design, the detailing, and the colors are obviously a big difference when you compare the two side by side. Even when I say side by side like this, you can practically see that this one is made for kids with a simpler transformation, while this one is made for, I guess you can say, older kids who can handle complex transformations. So that is it for the review of the latest series Optimus Prime Bootleg from, I just know the name of the company. Yeah, from JinJiang. So what is my verdict for this kind of figure? Well, honestly, this is a bootleg. Like many of the stuff I review lately right now are all bootlegs. And unlike other bootlegs I've reviewed in the past, this one is a much more better quality compared to the things I reviewed in the past. Like, yeah, I mean, this Optimus Prime is still good in a few aspects, but it's still a bootleg. It didn't meet my expectations. The ball joints are loose. However, when you compare it to this guy has a lot more going for it. It's good, it's solid, and it's a big Transformers, and I wanted something big in my collection, and this fulfilled my fantasies. Also, it's a box flat-nosed truck. You cannot go wrong with that. Now, I'm no G1 purist, but I like these kinds of trucks. And honestly, when it comes to the Michael Bay movies, out of all the Optimus Primes I love, this design speaks to me. Now sure, there is the Last Night, the Night Optimus Prime, and of course there is the original movie Optimus Prime from the first movie, but those designs, while cool, didn't appeal to me as much as the Evasion mode Optimus Prime. So, in the end of the day, if you like Optimus Prime, you like his Evasion mode, which is reminiscent of the G1, and you are a completionist of Transformers and you want a bigger scale for the Voyager class, I see no reason to not pick this guy up. It's big, it's solid, and it's pretty much accurate, save for the symbols at the back here. Now, like I said, you can get this at Lazada and Shopee, and since it's 11/11 on the day of this recording, they're offering a few discounts for things over 11 ringgit, which is pretty much, as a Malaysian myself, is a good thing. And if you're American and if you find this, I would suggest you get the original toy because, like, yeah, I mean, the articulation is lacking. That is no joke. So anyway, that is it for the review. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.